Well, we'll get started, and we're going to go ahead and remove the front fairing to this 2011 Street Glide, Harley Street Glide. And first thing is you want to get your windshield off, and there's 3 different Torx that you can see there. So I'm going to get a Torx driver and get the windshield off. That'll be our first step. Alright, and it's a Torx T27 is the size. These shouldn't be on very tight at all. Just crank through these. Okay, I got these all loosened. I'm just finishing them up here. And we'll get them all out. Alright, there we go. And then the windshield slides right out. And then I've got some bags here, some pouches, storage pouches. And actually, let me set this windshield to the side. Okay, and then we just got to pry just a little bit to give some space, and then our pouches will come right off. No problem, just going to get those out of the way. And we'll get this front fairing the rest of the way off. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we got the windshield off. We're going to move right around into the inside of the fairing here. And if you can see right up there, there's a Torx on the inside on both sides of the fairing. Should be the same size as the windshield Torx. Alright, just got a little extension here on the socket, and so I can get on in there. And we'll take this out pretty easy on both sides. Okay. Get that out the rest of the way. There we go. Now we'll go do that on the other side. Well guys, this is Ryan Erlacher with lawabidingbiker.com and your high-tech redneck. I really hope you're liking the tutorial video. We keep cranking them out there, just a real quick deal, and we'll get right back into it. Make sure you check out lawabidingbiker.com for all your law-abiding biker needs. We do a podcast. Check the podcast out. Also check all these video tutorial videos, review videos. We do a blog, written blogs I do, and I also do vlogs. So check all that stuff out, lawabidingbiker.com. We really appreciate your support. We really hope you're enjoying the videos. If you can, right now this is all free content. We're pumping it out for free for you guys, but we put a lot of money into it, a lot into podcasting gear. If you guys can support us, we really appreciate it. Go to lawabidingbiker.com and leave a donation. We really appreciate it. There's a donate PayPal button on there, and yeah, we'd really appreciate your support. Alright, let's get back to the tutorial video. Alright, no problem. It's the screw on just on the left side of the fairing, same screw we just took out on the other side. Alright guys, we got those 2 off. Now we're going to move around to the bike, and we're going to go underneath. As you can see, there should be 2 more, and I don't know how well you can see it. I'm going to try to zoom in for you and see if we can get a shot. That baby right there. There's a right back in there. Lighting's kind of bad, but that's a Torx right back in there. Okay, there's one on each side, and that's holding the lower part of the fairing. Okay, and let me back out for you so you know where that is. You go right in between the forks there, and you got to get under that wiring, and there's one on each side, so we're going to get to that. Alright, and this is where a good Torx 27 again, T27 and an extension, so you can get on up in there. And we'll get this out of here, and we'll have to be real careful when we get to the other side. And I'm going to kind of hold the fairing with my other hand, the front of it, while I get this Torx in here, because this fairing's going to want to drop. It's still got the other side holding on, but when I get this Torx out, it pretty much frees it up. So, okay, I felt it break loose, and the fairing's free. Alright. You just got to make sure there's one of those on each side. I had already taken the one off the other side. I had forgotten during this video, but the fairing is free now. Okay, fairing's free, and as you can see, the headlight and stuff is hooked up here. We're just going to grab onto this, and both sides, give it a good squeeze, and you just unplug it. and that frees the fairing. Alright, and that is the fairings removed from the bike, the front fairing, so we can just set this off the side. The headlight's in it, as you notice. Don't even have to remove that to get the fairing off. It's pretty simple. So we'll set this off to the side. Okay guys, while we got this fairing off, let's just take a look, kind of some of your components. Of course, your stereo here, the back of your stereo, if you're ever going to put something different in. Over here, you know, to take this inner fairing off, you've got to mess with all this stuff. That's not what this video is about, but the inner fairing is quite a bit more complicated to take off. But hopefully in the future, we'll see if I'll do a video on that. But yeah, so fuel gauge, speedometer, tachometer, thermometer over here, temperature gauge, stereo, a lot of plugs, a lot of wires, and there's a lot of bolts, different bolts in places to release this inner fairing. You kind of got to take a whole bunch of, unplug a whole bunch of stuff, but don't be intimidated by it. That's just what it looks like inside. So let's get the fairing back on. Oh, your speakers over here, of course. Okay guys, we're going to get the fairing back on. Of course, first thing is the headlight wire. Okay, make sure and only goes one way, so make sure you get that plugged in nice and tight. That will be the first thing we do. Just make sure you get it in there good. You don't want that coming loose. Okay, but we'll kind of line this up. You kind of got to get your wire in there for your headlight. That wire will try to get pinched up in there, so make sure it's out of the way. We'll just kind of line everything back up. And then I'm just going to hold the fairing in place and walk around, and we'll get that bolt going. Okay, I'm holding this fairing in place. You can put one of the windshield bolts in real quick, just part way if you kind of want to hold it in place, but I'm just holding it. If you're doing it by yourself, the easiest one to get at is right here. And then we'll go to the lower ones down here and get those. But that's what I'm going to do first, is just get this one started. Once we get one in, the fairing won't drop on the ground on us. So I'm kind of going to leave it loose right now. I'm not going to get it real snug. That way I have a little play and movement in the fairing, so I can get these ones, and I'll come around and tighten everything up. Okay guys, the other one is up in here, and I can see if it's lined up or not. I'm pushing up over here on the outside of the fairing. I'm pushing up and getting the hole lined up, and then I'll get on in there and see if I can get this thing started. And that's why I left the other one kind of loose, so I still have some workability with this fairing before I snug everything down. Okay, and that one I got started now. Alright, and I'm not going to tighten that one all the way down either. Just give a little play to get the other side in. And again, the other one is just on the opposite side, so I'm not going to show you that. It goes in the same way. Okay? Okay guys, I've moved around to this side of the bike again. Same as the other side. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I'm just going to... Now I can kind of snug things down. Not too hard. That's probably good right there. And then I'm just going to go around and snug everything down. And of course, last but not least, is the windshield. And if you have bags, make sure you get your pouches up there on your dash and all that. But this actually, you have to spread this apart a little bit to get this windshield in there. There you go. And then just make sure you go around. You can actually see the spots where the nuts are supposed to go, or excuse me, the bolts. Alright, those are all started now, and now I'll just take my T27 Torx and crank them all down. And I'm just tightening all these down now. Now that I've got them started, make sure you don't cross thread them. You kind of got to tweak the fairing a little bit, make sure they get in all there straight. They should go in real easy. And I'm not going to tighten it, but about that much. This is not. Those are all snug, and windshield's back on, fairings on, everything's secured. I've tightened everything up, and we're good to go.